Welcome to the acclaimed podcast, The Deep Dive, featuring your esteemed hosts, Andy Monitor and Drew Dinzik, powered by BetSperts.
Welcome to The Deep Dive.
Did the full intro that time.
That's right. Well, it's Tuesday. We're no longer under the shadow of the haze of the hangover haze of an awesome summer weekend. we're sharp as a tack today, and we're talking Broncos country. Let's ride. I know Russell Wilson is no longer part of the story, thank God. But really interesting.
Do you think that was the biggest? Do you think that was the biggest part of success outside of paying to get Sean Payton in there and fix
the biggest
things?
part of this?
Like, the Sean Payton is number one, but like Sean Payton deciding, like, yeah, we're just gonna eat it. I don't have time to try to fix this, nor do I think I can. I think we'll just figure it out money wise. Like, we can't have this guy on this team. I think that was the biggest move as far as fixing things. And it was painful. That's a huge hit. And again, it was probably the right move.
Mm-hmm.
We saw a successful team. I mean, it's what happens when these teams fix it. They get a little better, they make the playoffs, and they get the shit kicked out of them. They absolutely
usually
not beat out of them.
And I think that's kind of a common. That's kind of a common. That's in the air with the Broncos.
I don't think you can get mad about that playoff loss, though.
I'm going to push back on that on a lot of today's podcast, but like, I get why people are generally like, can't wait to fade the Broncos, sophomore slump coming up.
Yeah, I saw it one today.
Isn't repeatable year over year. Everybody thinks this defense is going to be so good, but they're going to take a step backward. That's kind of the people licking their chops to knock this team down. I mean, the fact that their odds are third in the AFC West is somewhat surprising, considering the roster I think is quite complete. Certainly on the defensive side of the ball. I don't know how you get better.
But I think they might have. Honestly, I think they have a better defense.
Like, I don't know. Like, if you're building our defense, I'm not sure how you do better than what they've put together.
Not only what they've put together, but financially as well.
Yeah,
they've done
for sure.
Aside from the Russell Wilson thing, which was somebody else's mess up years ago, they've done a really nice job financially, roster building, and filling in where they've need to. And obviously, they've had some good luck with bringing back. Man, it feels so weird that like Vance Joseph was getting looks for head coaches spots again. Like, people, let's not do that. Let's not do that. But the fact that they said, like, hey, I think this guy can still be a good DC. They brought him back. They got just uber production out of everybody in the front. Your outside linebackers were elite. You started with, CB 1 of 1. And you got a little bit more out of some of the other guys that were playing alongside him as well. And I think they filled in even better, and they're getting healthier. Like, I try to stay skeptical. You don't want to just say, like, here's the best case scenario for every team. I project 315 wins in the NFL this year.
Yeah.
You got to stay skeptical. You got to get ready to push back on stuff. But just looking, I know I've seen some people just like, it's regression. It's a sophomore slump. Defense isn't sticky, but I think they did enough to improve the defense and probably improve what matters on the offense to maybe get better. Like, and Patrick points at the only knock is like, it's an elite defense, it's an elite offensive line. You got a good young quarterback. You got an elite head coach / coaching staff. The skill group is the weakness.
Of course.
We'll get to that. Obviously, adding Ingram is nice. You probably didn't do enough to be like, this is a good, great, grand skill group. You're going to need some surprises for that to be above average, I think. But that is the hole right now. And that's why I don't think this is like a legitimate Super Bowl contender.
You can point to quarterback as a whole still, too. I mean, Nix is a little bit of an unknown. He took a major he took a major, positive arc through last season to where week 18 he was much more competent than he was week 1. However, I don't know that we know. I don't know that we can say with a straight face that he has some sort of ceiling where, at the end of this year, even with Payton as his tutor, are we really saying that there is like some world where he breaks into the top 5 quarterbacks in the AFC? That would legitimately floor me.
I think he can. No, for sure. I think he can.
5 guy in this.
Yes. I think behind there's 4 massive names. And I think in this case, you have to pass up like Herbert. You have to pass up because it's Allen, Mahomes, Lamar, and Joe. And then the 5th spot, you got Lamar. You've got
we're saying that at the end of this season, you're feeling better about Knicks than all of the above. Herbert, CJ Stroud, Trevor Lawrence. I'm blanking on Drake May. Tua, whose EPA per play is very tough to
Daniel Jones
kick dirt on. Daniel Jones. I think we all feel pretty confident he'll be better than Daniel Jones. But Geno, I mean, like he's going to have to be better than all of those guys, would surprise me. It would surprise me.
I'm not saying that's my projection for the kid. I'm saying it wouldn't surprise me if he were in that conversation. And I think the biggest case for that is the continuity on the offensive line in front of him. And it's an elite offensive line. It might be number 1 this year. You have added a tight end as a nookie blankie, kind of help it out. We've seen what Payton can do with that sort of thing. If you can, the bandied around word is the Joker, Joker tight end that you can But if that works out, Dobbins and the rookie work out a little bit, even are just like a league average running group. This is the best run blocking group in the country. Mm-hmm. We're talking college teams. Like he can be at the level of those guys because I don't believe in any of those guys to be in the level of the first 4. And it's like first 4 gap.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. He can be in the conversation with those guys because of the situation he's in. And truthfully, and I don't remember who wrote about this, and I hate extrapolating like this sometimes, but because it covers my argument, I will. It was either the second half of the season or the final 8 games. He was on like a 45 touchdown pace. They figured out how to use him. They figured out how to keep him clean and let him make the good decisions. And truthfully, he should be fine because he played like 600 fucking games in college. He was he's like 28, guys. He's maybe the most experienced college player ever, I think they said. He wasn't really? This. Yeah, he played like 6 years, dude. He was so old. That was like the knock on him in Penix. Was just like, hey, this guy's old. It's like, is that all as bad? I guess. So I'm fine with him being in the conversation with who's going to be number 5 behind those big 4. That said, sophomore slumps happen and offenses get figured out. I think the positive is just that you have Sean Payton, and I think a lot of teams don't.
Yeah, that's clearly the positive. I mean, if you're counting on upside here, this is the AFC for being full of elite and maybe good quarterbacks is not full of good coaches. It's really not. There's kind of questions and lack of confidence, at least for me, for everyone not named Andy Reid. And I would probably still put Harbaugh second among AFC coaches, but I would very realistically consider Payton as your 3rd best, maybe even better than Harbaugh, if we're being honest. I don't know. I don't know about my feelings.
I think we might be on an Andy Reid trajectory here where it's like, hey, you spent a long time at a team. You had a lot of success, even more than Andy Reid. You actually won the Super Bowl. You didn't just get there. You find your second team and you make things start happening. I mean, Andy Reid made it start happening even without Mahomes. So I think we might be on that sort of which Harbaugh. I mean, Baltimore.
Oh, John Harbaugh.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm
John Harbaugh.
not as keen on Jim.
I mean,
I don't think
Harbaugh's
Jim's a
perfectly
bad
fine,
coach, but
yeah,
John is better.
I think Jim's squarely in like the 5-6 range. I think Payton is a conversation about 2-3 relative to John, and I think the John Harbaugh. We'll get there when we get to Baltimore, and this could be the year that he gets another one. Yeah, should be. But who knows? The general kind of spirit though with the Broncos is I probably would have said a lot of the same stuff if we were previewing the 2006. I probably would have had a lot of the same sort of commentary in 2006 when Sean Payton took over the Saints and they bring in Drew Brees. And you would have said, is it possible that 27-year-old Drew Brees, who is a free agent that, we had questions about his strength and his shoulder and his height and everything, like what are the chances that Sean Payton turns this guy into, your second choice for MVP? AP first team quarterback? I would have been like, low. And he did. And so I don't really want to be out on a corner screaming doubt in the face of Sean Payton, who's proven that he can do it and is young enough and is kind of seems sharp enough and seems aware of where the league is and really does seem to still have his fastball and did a really nice job in year one of mentoring Bo Nix into a competent quarterback that ultimately had his playoff stinker, but this could take a meaningful step forward this year.
I had a knock on Peyton, but I think I'm actually going to spin it into a positive. When his daughter lied to us via her mock draft.
Oh yeah, sure.
And that's not who they took.
Hampton.
But maybe loose lips sink ships. Maybe Peyton not even telling his kids who he was going to draft. Maybe I respect him even more.
Yeah, he knew that. Yeah,
he knew
that was
about it.
He knew that was going to get blabbed, right? That was a specific test of disinformation. And we'll get to the draft and whether the decision to take Barron and add strength to strength versus Omari and Hampton is correct, but that'll bear itself out as we see if J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey can carry the torch for the backfield behind an amazing offensive line. All right, so the 2024 Denver Broncos, I think I take this back. They were 10-7, third in the West. They made the playoffs. They get blown out on the road by an amazing quarterback and a good team in the Bills. With I don't even really remember if it was that much of a stinker for Nix as opposed to just, they were up against. They were the inexperience on the road in a hostile environment. There were no turnovers for the Broncos that day, it looks like. But they only generated 224 yards of total offense, and they conceded 470, which was atypical. That was their worst defense, or their second worst game of the season after the loss to the Bengals, which I think is maybe where you kind of point to, overall, what was the story with this Broncos team. And the defense was amazing, except when they went up against elite quarterbacks, namely the Ravens, the Bills, and the Bengals. They got torched. Give up 41 to the Ravens, 30 to the Bengals, and then losing in overtime, 31 to the Bills in the playoff game. Now you put Kansas City in a tough spot in the middle of the season when Kansas City needed a win, and had to fight you tooth and nail, winning 16-14. But there
were injuries. The linebacker injuries were tough because you weren't as deep there as you thought you were, and they were weak up the spine after that. It was still an amazing pass rush group. You still had good coverage, but there were problems on that defense up the middle once Singleton and the other injury there. I'm trying to think of it.
I forgot Alex Singleton got hurt.
Yeah, Drew Sanders just isn't kind of it.
Sure.
Justin Strnad is definitely not it. Like when Singleton went down, that was a problem. With him healthy and Dre Greenlaw in the fold, it shouldn't be as much of a weakness. It's still tough playing tough teams, and there's some, that if you want to do anything in the AFC, we named off those 4 quarterbacks. You got to probably, if you want to make the AFC title game as the Broncos, like that should be a goal. Like we want to win a playoff game this year. If you want to make that, you're probably having to beat 2 of those guys, which is a huge task.
Yeah,
even for really good defense. So you're going to need good injury luck as well as some of the.
Yeah.
God, one of those games there was a drop by Sutton too, I think it was a Chiefs game. They could have won.
Dude, the commenters are on fucking fire today. Having
the Carmichael thing, didn't get to that yet. Birdie beat us.
Absolutely.
He was the OC for the whole run of
the scripted drive for the Broncos in that Bills playoff game was outstanding. I was a little sweaty because I laid the Bills pretty aggressively, if I remember right. Jameis threw for 800 yards on them, but 200 of those were return yards.
Yeah. What was his net?
Yeah. Was it 2 pick sixes in that one? I had the Browns that day. I'm still not over that one. Casey did luck
we
box
both had the
that one.
Browns. I remember that game.
And they could not contain the Chargers in either game. So the defense was even up against a very good schedule of opposing quarterbacks. You played pretty much every elite quarterback in your conference. They still finished with the most outstanding EPA per play of any defense last year, with a minus 0.1 EPA per play allowed. Success rates were also kind of excellent, particularly their rushing success rate allowed under 35%, dropback success rate allowed under 45%. This was just they were a great defense, and that fueled them to having the defensive player of the year in Patrick Surtain. First time in a long time we've seen that go to a cornerback, but it was fairly deserved. And it in general kind of seems to me at least like that with a little bit more experienced and competent offense, they probably are pushing the Chiefs a little bit harder for the division and, a little bit more competitive in the playoffs, but still a decent gap between them and the true contenders in the AFC.
Yeah, I think they have a chance to win this division if things shake out right. That's your ceiling. Getting but some of that takes a bad Chiefs season, and by bad Chiefs season, I mean you beat them twice. You have to win those games to knock them down, and obviously the Chargers aren't a bad team either. You struggled with them, so there's some, there's a distribution here, and part of it is missing the playoffs because the AFC is going to be tough. And we did this 2 years ago, and then it turned out to be the NFC that was much tougher, and we could be wrong again. But right now, it feels like there's a handful of up and coming teams in the AFC behind the big 4 contenders or big 3. I don't know how you feel about the Bengals, that defense. We were referencing the big 4 quarterbacks, but 3 really good teams. And then, a handful of teams with good quarterbacks. Somebody has to win the South, and we'll have, a home game in the playoffs. That could be with a decent quarterback. It's an uphill battle for sure.
Yeah. The funny thing is that who's kind of I put together my ratings. I'm done. I'm not I'm gonna.
Well, you're allowed to tweak. Yeah.
I'm gonna fidget with them as we get news and information throughout training camp. I'm gonna fidget as we talk about these, and you make good points or push back, or the commenters come up with something sharp that I'm like, oh shoot, I need to rethink that. But I'm pretty much done across the NFL right now. And the gap between Broncos, Bengals, Chargers for me is so small. And it goes in that order: Broncos, Bengals, Chargers, as far as my fair ratings. But they are so tightly clustered. They could finish in any order, depending on health and progression of some of their young players, progression of the quarterback, particularly in Denver. But the real kind of twin for the Broncos out there is the Texans. Like the Broncos and the Texans both have young quarterbacks with playoff experience now. defenses that are in the top 2 of the NFL in some order, and one big glaring problem on offense. With the Chargers, with the Broncos, it's their skill group. With the Texans, it's their offensive line. And so it's kind of funny that you just sort of see a complete team otherwise, a great defense, and a quarterback with upside. And it's easy to say, but if they don't get there, we kind of know why.
Yeah. And I guess how do you rate those things? Which is more overcomable?
Yeah,
and in my mind, and according to my ratings,
the
skill group is probably more.
Offensive line with the Broncos is great. Yeah, you think skill group matters more?
No, I think it's more easily overcame as far as it being the weakness rather than your offensive line. If your offensive line is as bad as it possibly could be for the Texans this year, it's going to be hard for them to win 10 games despite everything else.
There's a lot of good pass rushes in the NFL. There's not a lot of good defenses. So your skill group, even though we don't really rate them, is probably still going to have some days where they're able to create separation, where you're able to scheme things for your guys, and they're able to have success in spite of not being more talented. I think that I completely agree with you. Especially,
and I think Sutton is very good. Sutton's an excellent wide receiver one for all things considered. Good X guy, but man, it's cupboard's a little goofy after that, where you got hopefully Marvin Mims can do more than one trick at some point. You got Devon Vele, Troy Franklin's a gadget guy.
Mm-hmm.
You went and got a special teamer from Minnesota and Trent Sherfield, and then you drafted Pat Bryant.
Mm-hmm. So a couple other notes on 2024. Their over-under heading into the season was 5.5. Sean Payton still didn't really have much of a chance as coach of the year, despite making the playoffs and having double-digit wins with those low expectations. Kind of surprising. He should have been considered more seriously, I think. The other kind of key observation here, at 10-7, they underperformed their Pythag win by a game and a half, which I did not realize. I would have guessed that maybe they were expected to be like a 9-win team and they got to 10. Their Pythag was 11.5. So they actually
lost some close ones.
Performed, losing some close games. As far as covering, though, they were darlings. They were 11-6-1 against the spread over the balance of the season. 10 overs, 7 unders, 1 push, despite the fact that they were a very good defense. There were still more overs than unders this year. Fun to note that as an underdog, they couldn't really get across the finish line. They were 3-6-1, but as a favorite, 8-0 against the spread. How about that? When they were expecting to cover, they showed up and they gave you the goods. 8-0 as a favorite. Wild.
Do you have that in front of you? Was anybody else perfect as a favorite?
I don't have that in front of me, but I don't think there were very many other teams that were perfect as a favorite. Perfect covering the spread. We're not saying they won every game they were favored. I'm saying they covered every time they were favored, which is kind of wild.
Which means they did win those games.
Yeah, they won. I'm just saying, like, it wasn't like the the Chiefs might have won every game they were favored, but they didn't cover even close to every game.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's impressive to outperform the market each time that you're
expected to win.
All right. Any other thoughts on 24 before we go into the little more off-season stuff?
I do not.
Yeah, I don't either. It was good. It was fun.
Other than the Jameis game, it was a pretty boring schedule. I don't remember watching many of these games and being way engaged. The Cincy loss was kind of fluky because they could have, at the end of the Cincy game, something happened at the end of that game where they would have covered if they just conceded the field goal, and they didn't. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it was a holiday game. I was watching at my brother-in-law's.
I got a blown cover on that, even though I had the best of the number. I want to say I had +3.5 and it closed 2.5 or something, and they lost by 6 in overtime.
Yeah, I had
because the Bengals missed a field goal. McPherson, I feel like, gacked it, or maybe it wasn't even McPherson. They gacked it, and And then on the next drive, Zach Taylor didn't even have the guts to go kick. He was like, just punch it in. We're not risking putting our kicker back out there.
Just mine. Yeah, that was that was a rough one. I think that was Christmas. That might have been Christmas Day or Christmas Eve game because I was definitely at the brother-in-law's for Christmas.
It was the 28th. It was a Saturday game on the 28th, so it was a standalone game after Christmas on Saturday.
Yeah, nobody else had the Broncos that day in that household, so I was the only one dying watching that game. It's like, this is a fun game. No, it's not. So yeah,
field goal.
Couple quick housekeeping. 63 sacks. That was a franchise record. 63 sacks last year. Everybody contributed. The inside, the outside. Everybody. Singleton went down in week 3. That was a problem, not only in some of the run stuff, but coverage too. That kind of exposed the weaknesses outside of CB1 when you're in your coverage group there. And that's why they had some problems against teams, again, like we mentioned, up the spine. It wasn't the toughest schedule in the long run, despite having to play in a tough division. So that is another knock against them. But like you said, they still finished below their Pythag. Off-season losses, not a lot of turnover. They lost their running back room, but nobody was in love with that anyway. Javonte Williams, we mentioned last week, is in Dallas. Zach Wilson is gone. He is in Miami. They lost their punter, Riley Dixon, which is actually, I think he was a good punter. So
he was good.
They're actually getting a downgrade in special teams because of that. They signed Matt Hack, and drafted a rookie, I believe. I'm going to have to triple check. Yeah. 6th-round punter from Florida, Jeremy Crenshaw, to compete. I'm not following who's going to be the punter either way. I'm assuming it's not going to be the rookie. The big signing, Evan Ingram from Jacksonville. Injuries last year. Everybody they signed is coming off like, hey, this guy was really good at one time. He still could be. We're going to pay him like he's not going to be because Hufanga, the safety from San Francisco, he had a ton. He only played 7 games last year. Dre Greenlaw, I think, may be one of those where it was a bit of a freak injury. He didn't really he played like 2 games last year because it was a Super Bowl injury. Barely got to play.
Get re-injured. He didn't look healthy out there.
Well, that's the thing. He played a little bit at the end, and I don't think we really got to see, where he was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Where maybe one of the best coverage linebackers there is, one of the best linebackers there is, and it might solve a lot of problems, especially if a Hufanga plays well. Then suddenly your linebacker and safety core have gotten better. Like I said, they signed Trent Sherfield from Minnesota. That's a special teams wide receiver kind of guy. Re-signed a few guys. Stidham is back as a backup. Matt Pert, another good depth piece. You don't want to have to use him, but you can because he started a couple games last year. Kind of covers a lot of it. They did re-sign Jaquan McMillan. He was your slot corner last year. It's going to be a bit of a competition between him and, onto the draft, Jade Barron, that's probably going to be the competition, those two for the nickel spot with, who's the other guy's name? Riley Moss on the outside opposite of Pat Surtain. Drafted a running back who is not signing a contract because he wants guaranteed money, as a lot of these rookies are starting to get. Basically, your rookie contract is based on your draft slot. You don't have a choice. That's how much you're going to make. The only thing you can change is how much of it is guaranteed. And a lot of players have been getting more and more, and he's being a pain in the ass about that. Rookies have to report tomorrow for Denver. That's the rookie report day. So,
yeah, but they can't be.
As you're listening to this
contract, right?
I don't know what the deal will be if he holds out longer than this. So we'll find out. Maybe they get something done tomorrow. RJ Harvey from.
He has some leverage because the rest of that room is not very good.
That's the thing too. Like it's J.K. Dobbins, man.
And
that's it. It's a bunch of guys who. It's a bunch of guys who've played. Estime, McLaughlin, the other guy, Tyler. What's his face? They've played some Batty. Yeah, they've played some ball. It's a really good run run blocking unit, but he's not. He's clearly, like you said, he's got some leverage. We'll see how that turns out. I think Dobbins has some tread left on the tires. I'm not overly excited about it, but you could do worse, and maybe you did last year. Like we said, they have a young receiver they drafted from Illinois, Pat Bryant, in the 3rd round. He's probably your 3rd or 4th guy if it turns out all right. Like, that's a guy that's probably going to have to play some ball. As good as this team was, all of these rookies are going to play. Savion Jones, the defensive end from LSU, they love what he's doing. He's going to be a rotational pass rusher most likely. And then, as I mentioned, the punter is in the mix for the punting job out of the draft. A couple other depth pieces as well. Another tight end. Tight end from Utah. Stop me if you heard this one before. Former basketball players.
What?
Yeah.
Basketball players can play football? And
basketball player turns into a tight end? Maybe we were cooking with fire there.
Interesting.
Cooking with gas.
I will tell you that their draft was fine. I don't really know. I don't really know what their plan is for Barron. He's kind of like a little bit of like a what do you call it? Star, like he can be moved around in different ways. Yeah. Versatility is real for him. And they kind of have like 4 cornerbacks that I believe in, which is really, really rare. There's not a lot of teams that go 4 deep where you're like, yeah, these guys can all cover. There's not a lot of teams where you are excited about the coverage skills of the linebacking group on top of the secondary. This is probably one of, on paper, the best coverage units that we've come across in a really long time. The investments on offense left me cold.
I would have liked a wide receiver.
You have a rookie you have a rookie quarterback, which means you hold the keys to competing in the NFL because of his compensation. And rather than make an offer for, I don't know, like there's got to be a running back out there who's like all pro skill, who wants a new contract and isn't especially happy with the way things are going. I don't know, like a James Cook. Right? Like there's got to be a wide receiver out there who really thinks he should be getting paid more. Who's like, I just want my one last contract. I'm older, Yeah. Like let's get this done. There's like 8 of those guys. But like why not kind of give a little bit of your draft capital that you used on players to bring in guys, give them some of the cap space you've got on offense to improve the skill group so that you actually have a team that doesn't look like it has a glaring hole. I'm not sure I really understand that, especially because if you bring in like a James Cook and like even if you are squinting, you're like, James Cook was kind of a product of that system, playing with Josh Allen behind that amazing offensive line. Like, look, you might have a better run blocking unit here.
Well, and at that point, the counterpoint to this is trust Payton. He had his eyes on at least 3 running backs in the draft that he thought he could turn into an even cheaper option to start and split carries with Dobbins. And I think Hampton, Harvey, and probably one more. Like, I think it was always the plan because the fact that they didn't go overboard on running back in free agency or trade kind of speaks to the fact that he was probably always going to take, a running back in the draft. And he had a couple guys. And he always thought, well, even if one of them snagged, I have somebody I can go get them. I think that's where it's at. I don't watch a lot of college football. I know people are very excited for Harvey. He's not even on the team yet, guys. We'll see. But if he turns out well, then he looks like a genius. If it doesn't pan out, then yeah, you're going into your second straight year with one of the best run blocking units in the world and bad running backs behind it, not getting the most out of what they're doing ahead of you. It's the best interior run blocking 3 in the league. And if you have bad running backs, you're not taking full advantage of it. And at the same time, like you said, the wide receiver thing, I don't know if he felt the same way about Pat Bryant. I don't know if I can make that call on somebody drafted a little further down. I've seen articles where like they should sign Keenan Allen. And it's like, we got to stop writing these articles where they just pick who's the best wide.
number
Like,
one. Yeah.
let's look at all the free agents and who has the most yards in their career out of all of them.
Go get
But
me
Keenan
that guy.
Allen he's been good for a while. Let's sign him. Like, that's not the answer. That's never the answer at this point. So Mims closed the year strong as well. If they can get a bunch out of him, maybe it's okay. It's still Patrick says Keenan Allen. Why not Jerry Rice? Yeah. Why not Al Toon? Yeah. Mims had a couple of 100-yard games to close the season, and if he plays well, and they have two decent wide receivers in Ingram, this is above average skill group. Right now, I'm not willing to give him that sort of rating. I have to see it first. It's a lot of ifs and buts, candies and nuts. Then Evan Ingram has a Merry Christmas. But for now, it's like you said. I'm with you on being critical.
Okay. That's about all we can say though from a roster building standpoint, which is I don't know. Should you push more chips in the table? Just pay for a running back who's in his prime who can take advantage of your strength in the run blocking game. Because I have a really tough time seeing you hit a grand slam with PJ Harvey to the tune of, or RJ Harvey, RJ Harvey to the tune of as good as what could have been out there if you had really explored the options a little more aggressively. And maybe the Bills weren't ever really serious about potentially trading Cook, and I'm being ridiculous, but
so I stand corrected. I think they're going with that rookie punter. I think they actually don't even have Hack on the squad anymore.
It's Crenshaw's job to lose.
Yeah.
I think you're
right. He was released in May. Never mind. I had all my off-season signing notes for the teams.
He's already gone.
And he wasn't on the roster. I'm like, oh man, they're giving it to the rookie. So
okay.
Wrong about the punter.
All right. Well, let's see the general should we go schedule next?
Yeah, let's just schedule.
All right. It is a lot of blue. There is a lot of expected wins here. And considering that you have Sean Payton, who apparently is a covering machine while favored, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 wins, Andy. I think the reality is probably a couple of those are not going to end up being, clear and obvious for you. I certainly don't know if you will close as favorites against at Houston, for instance. Kind of surprised you are currently -1.5 at Houston personally. Kind of surprised that
kind of a bad matchup. Great pass rush, bad offensive.
Yeah. It's kind of a bad for Houston. Yeah, it is a bad matchup.
And it neutralizes a bit of Houston's strength and pass rush as well.
And neutralizes a bit of Houston's strength and skill because you can lock down Nico and them. Yeah. All right. So yeah, maybe you do close favorite at Houston. But there are two conspicuous teams missing. Baltimore and Buffalo. You don't have to play either one of them this year. In fact, the toughest team you have to play is Philly. Yeah, not till January. Toughest team you got is Philly, and at Philly, you're only 4.5-point dogs at Philly.
Philly, at Washington,
giving you some respect, man.
Yeah, your toughest games are at Philly, at Washington, at KC, at Chargers. Those
How
are
about
tough.
that?
Those are not easy.
Nah,
Green Bay at home.
They're not that bad though.
No, you get Green Bay at home. You get what's the other one? You get Cincinnati at home. There's some of your road games are like, hey, yeah, we have to go to Indy week 2. Like, what a fortuitous start for them.
Oh my goodness,
a rookie
is it ever?
A rookie in his first ever start, at altitude on the road, and then Indy's. Who knows what they're doing at quarterback at this point? Probably still figuring it out. Week 2, it's a travel spot, but you should get that win. If you can beat the Chargers or the Bengals, a 3-1 start going in that Philly game, that feels pretty good.
Mhm.
You know, it's not a full ass scheduled loss, but you have a rest disadvantage there, and it's Philly, and you're traveling because it's a international game.
London, I believe. London town, right?
Yes.
Is that right?
So maybe I don't. You know, it's not. You're not going to the Link, which is nice, but it's a goofy travel spot there with the Jets game. Or you're going to the Link, and then you don't have
And
to.
then on to London, probably.
Yes, you don't have to do a weird back and forth. Like I would assume you don't fly back to Denver there.
That seems sequenced because they requested it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
You don't have a bye after the London game, but you almost do because you're playing the Giants.
Good luck to the Giants on that day. Broncos country, let's ride. But Russell Wilson still have the job week 7? Probably not, right?
God, I'm not, probably not, but that's fun. That's fun if he did. I can hope for it.
No, I like that. Like your 2 early road games, like they didn't send you to Miami to go swelter in the heat, right? You got at Tennessee in the Dome, at LA in the Dome. Like those are pretty nice road games for a Denver team early in the season. And then late in the season, you welcome some warm weather teams. Jacksonville, come on through in late December up to Mile High. LA, come on, LA Chargers, come on through. Final week of the season, that'll be lovely and warm and balmy for the Chargers to head up to Mile High. You get the Raiders at night in Denver, which is a fun one. So yeah, I mean, overall, there's some nice advantages in the schedule for Denver to get some wins, and I think overall, I'm just going to call it. Like, there's no easy schedules in the AFC, but this one's pretty damn close. It really is.
Yeah. The Circa Survivor spot pick selection.
So many choices.
There are a few. Week one isn't out of the realm of possibility because it's, like we said, it's a bad spot for Tennessee. I think there's other spots to pick on Tennessee as well, but that might be one.
Do you think Denver is the most picked week 1? I think I
think the top 2. They'll be one of the top 2. That Giants spot is goofy because we mentioned you're coming back from international travel, flying from London to Denver, 7 days, just a normal 7 days of rest there. But it's at home against a bad Giants team. It's not the worst spot. The Vegas Thursday night spot is tricky as well if you want to use a Thursday nighter. Yeah.
I'm probably out on Thursday for Survivor. I'm probably out on
nights.
Divisional games against teams that are this. Yeah,
if you make it late, Jacksonville is definitely a nice spot as well.
It's a really nice one. Yeah. Yeah. I think the big question is, do you use them week 1? You're taking advantage of Cam Ward making his first NFL start ever against the defense that can make him look pretty bad, I think.
Yeah. Patrick's already in my head. Teasing Denver. Of course I'm teasing Denver week 1 with you.
What's the good pair for that? What's the good
all of them
complimentary leg? Texans 2.5 out to 7.5 at the Rams. It's pretty nice.
I don't hate that.
How about Raiders 2.5 out to 7.5 against the Patriots? Pretty good. Panthers 2.5 out to 7.5 against the Jags. I don't think.
Oh, you know what? A really scary one.
Chargers 2.5 out to 7.5.
Baltimore out to 8.
Ooh,
in Buffalo, that's a sketchy one to use. If Green Bay is going to continue to be favored versus Detroit, that's one I'd think about. Just it's going to be a back and forth. There's no other favorite really to use. It's that one, and nobody else is over a touchdown favorite. Washington. After we see the preseason of the Giants,
they make it.
Washington might be an 8-point favorite.
Yes,
by the time we get to it. So it might be a Commanders Broncos week 1.
Yeah, Commies Bronchies. Two second-year quarterbacks. You're gonna it's the sophomore slump spit in the eye teaser of the week. I love that. Well, Easy schedule. Thank you to our sponsors, Circus. Be sure to sign up for Millions 7 and Circus Survivor out in the desert. And of course, you sign up in Vegas in person and you can play from anywhere and take advantage of the biggest prize pool in all of professional football contests.
We still don't know how we're going to just do podcasts during the season. I don't think I'm doing like 7 podcasts a week plus half times. I don't think we can do a daily show every day. Fuck it. I don't know. Maybe
we have to talk about this.
We got to figure this out here, but no matter what, we will figure out a way to do a contest show every week.
That's our Friday show. I think
we're going to have an entry.
We're going to we'll have the information of the market. We'll know what the contest lines are. We'll see where the market is kind of confirmed or dunked on.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. At a minimum, we're going to do a Friday show where we'll split an entry. How much is proxy for the second entry? It feels like they get cheaper. It's like 300, 200, 100. We'll have to check on that. Either way, I'll send you some Bitcoin. We'll split an entry. I'm going to make you put it in.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then Fridays we'll talk about it. That'll
put
be fun.
my own entry in, but we'll put a dedicated deep dive entry in. It'll be great. It'll be the FFF.
That'll be fun.
The FFF deep dive.
We'll just argue about which ones to use on Friday. That'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that'll be a good show. And then give the line of the week and then call it a week. All right. The
power ratings.
Power ratings. Where are your numbers at for quarterback?
Good. This is my 10th best team.
So this is your 10th best team. Whoa.
I haven't adjusted everybody.
I'm 14.
And it's very like 10 through 16 is so close.
Okay.
So like if I make some small adjustments to Minnesota, if I make some small adjustments to Seattle, if I make some small adjustments to some of these other teams, I don't know where exactly Tampa Bay is going to end up in this whole mess. I haven't completely finished everything. It is tight from like
really high for me. I got to read.
Yeah, I think Tampa Bay is going to be 8th or 9th.
That's feels
the Chargers, the Rams, like I said, the Vikings, the Packers, everybody is just right there.
Okay.
Packers should be higher than this team for sure. But Denver's somewhere in that 10 to 14 range for me. 8.5 on OC quarterback. Just because I tried to make the case that
Denver?
What? Yes.
What was your number?
4.5.
Oh, I thought you said 8.5.
Oh no, that's higher. That's higher than
4.5. Okay,
4.5. You still got to show me. It was a great second half to the season. I love what they're doing. He still made mistakes. He's still a sophomore. Got to see it. Slightly below average, but that's the one where I'm starting it at rock bottom. Did I say 8.5?
That's what I heard.
Patrick says I said it too. We're gonna have to listen to the audio back. I started at a 4.5.
I've said crazier things.
Sky's the limit. For
it hasn't been an accident. So, okay, I went 3.6 for QBOC, and this is accounting for the fact that last year, Bo Nix's EPA per play numbers last year were once all the dust settled were better than you expect in the blind from a rookie. They were. He exceeded expectations. And even still, I think, the what's the right word I'm looking for? The pop is not there on film.
No, my knocks on him were it turned out to be an incredibly easy schedule. You can make a case it was the second or third easiest schedule
of the opposing defenses
of anybody you played. And the other knock would be he was perpetually in good situations in some of the wins. And I know Birdie's pointing out, he led rookies in passing yards and touchdowns. In some of his big games where he had big numbers, he was put into very good situations often. And you got to play, you got to hold on to leads. You got to manage those games and make sure they don't turn into losses. But he still has to show me something. That's what I said. I don't think I can go lower than this number. I almost had a 5, but this number most likely
I put
goes
this
up.
here expecting that this is only going up if we see more progression as a passer, which is just to say his air yards and his time to throw, all of it was like, it was really favorable last year. And I know that the offensive line is just as good. And I know that there's not really there's not really a reason to expect that they're for sure gonna have the same general conservative offensive game plan this year. But
I mean, if it runs through Evan Ingram, I don't know how this is some push it downfield kind of offense.
Yeah.
If Sutton and Ingram play well, yeah, he's definitely going to move up.
He took advantage of the check down pretty often. He really only took chances and threw to wide open guys. He had a lot of time to operate and didn't have to make a lot of quick decisions. He's mobile. He's athletic.
We didn't mention he's
very fast. He's very fast. He was the fastest runner of anyone that had the football in their hands week 1 last year against Seattle. I'll never forget that. And the tape checks that out. Actually, he is quite fast. But there's not really a risk-taking nature to him of trying to make tight window throws. There's not really a game-breaking swashbuckler. Like, he's like the anti-Baker Mayfield in a lot of ways. And I maybe that's exactly what Payton wants. Maybe Payton feels very comfortable. Maybe the lack of turnovers and just general consistency and the steady Eddie kind of quarterback play is exactly what they need. But because of the sort of slow ceiling, I gotta stay in the 3.6 range. Sorry to Bo Nixon.
Good question from Dave here. Doesn't the whole thing fall apart if Harvey just isn't that good? I don't think Harvey even has to be good for him to have a decent year because the scheme and the run blocking.
I don't think Javonte Williams was very good, but he was a little bit better than an average running back last year in 11 starts.
I think the running back room isn't exciting. If Harvey turns out to be amazing, Harvey might just win Rookie of the Year because the run blocking and scheme again is just, even in a committee, he might just get 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns. Like if he's very good, if he turns out to be a playmaker at this level, the people around him are going to boost his numbers, and he should be in the conversation for that. Obviously, it depends how the quarterbacks play. Offensive line, Drew, where are you at?
Oh boy, I got a big number here. 8.5. This is close to my number 1 offensive line.
8.
Okay.
And I don't have a lot of bad things to say about them. I just, it's kind of where my Philly, last year's Detroit numbers. It's going to be one of my best offensive lines. Baltimore's up there, despite everything. They just play well with each other. I have no idea why. Everybody's good, like we talked about.
They're all good.
The interior is so good. Both tackles are coming along nicely. Bowles is great, and then you got Pert, Forsyth.
Good depth. Yeah.
Throckmorton. Somebody made fun of Throckmorton and Frank Crum, Alex Plzewski. Like all of those guys have started games, played games. You've got pretty good depth. Maybe I'm low on this. This might actually have to go up a little. Like we said, strong pass rush or strong pass blocking, strong run block, strong everything. One of the best offensive lines. Not a lot more to say.
Yep. Skill group.
Sam did point out they were incredibly healthy last year.
They were. Center only started 13 games. Wattenberg was only available for 13. They had to get a 4-game contribution from Forsyth. He held his own though. All right, skill group. 3 or 3.5.
I struggled with this. No, I started with a 5. I went through a journey here because I'm like, God, Sutton was good and Mims had some games. Then I start looking at like Evan Ingram, and I wanted to put together a possibility of like,
you dole out the touches and targets pie, and you're like, there's a lot of uninspiring stuff here.
Is Evan Ingram this good of a player Can he be? Will he be? Should he be? Yes, he can. We don't know if he will. So I went down to a 3.5.
I'm at 3.5 there too. Okay. It's my 21st best offense in the NFL. Defense, glorious numbers here. I'll just rip through them. 7.6 for run stop, 7.8 for pass rush, 8.6 for coverage. I don't know that I've ever had an 8.6 for coverage for any team in the years that I've kind of done this sort of a rubric. This has got to be number one.
Yeah. I haven't gotten deep in the weeds. So I've just been, you switched over. Last week it was half point.
Yeah, I know.
Graduations.
I had to for reasons.
Once I get to the season,
I was what I did was, and I'll explain this because people are probably curious. So I'm taking the actual kind of player level and team level, and coming up with a composite. And because I was just doing it sort of in the blind, and I just wanted a starting point, I rounded everything to the nearest half point. And then after I kind of went in and just sort of checked out and started kind of fine tuning some things, accounted for sort of changes in, usage, effectively changes in scheme. I came out with numbers that were I thought were more robust, and then I rounded to the nearest 10th instead of nearest half.
Yeah, and it's funny. I did similarly, and then once I started to use some metrics for defense last year, I was actually going out to the 100th spot where my
oh really?
I built like these, I hate to use just a buzzword, but algorithms like based on, here's 40 stats I'm scraping, and then I'm normalizing it and looking at like how good is this pass rush compared to every other team and trying to find a good number on that. And, obviously I didn't want to round that off to it feels like this is dumb to say, but once you put in that amount of work, you don't want to round that to a half point.
Well, you know what else is funny? I'm doing all of this in Z-scores and then converting it over for the sake of communicating it more clearly, because nobody's going to be like, well, it's a minus 2.3 Z-score. What is that? That sounds bad. Is that bad?
I think a
1.5 is very clear. This is bad. Yeah. So anyway.
I just went 7.5 across the board. It's my second best defense.
Cool.
For now. There are concerns. Like we said, Hufanga is, the injury risk. We have the injury problem. Dre Greenlaw obviously had a big one where he missed a lot of time. But if Hufanga is healthy and he works out, that is a way better strong safety. PJ Locke might get cut because he's making way too much money for somebody who's probably your third or fourth safety, and had, I think, a back surgery in the offseason. You drafted some depth at that spot. Jahdae Barron's a big question mark because he's a rookie. If he doesn't play well, though, Jaquan McMillan, they're not cutting him. They just re-signed him. I think he's going to be on the team and he can be fine. So I think you have 4 good corners. Obviously, the pass rush goes without saying. Benito's a star. Zach Allen's a star. Cooper, everybody, the outside linebackers are so good. Zach Allen and JFM, very good. DJ Jones, could use him to eat a little more. They don't really have there's not like a true nose tackle.
Yeah, I guess that is true.
It's fine. It works.
Their run stop was incredible last year, though. Birdie says pass rush.
I can't dog on their
coverage. I will say that the pass rush's actual production was a product of their coverage being very good, but the pass rush win rate of the Broncos defense last year was number 2 behind the Houston Texans. So it was very close.
Not just the edges, like the inside too. I want to say Zach Allen had an amazing win rate.
Oh, absolutely. Zach Allen is an incredible player. Period. Actually, wait a second. Zach Allen, number 2 most important Denver Bronco for me after Pat Surtain.
And then, like we said, they drafted Savion Jones for depth. You have Jonah Ellis for depth. You've got a bunch of people behind them. The depth that I'm worried about is linebacker, especially if Greenlaw isn't healthy or good. Sanders and Sternad are not people I'm super excited to see in the interior linebacking crew. But if that's the only bad thing you can say is, some injured players were injured last year. And the linebacking is thin on the middle. It's still a top 3 defense, no matter which way you suss it. Rookie punter drops my number a little.
Oh yeah, what was your special teams number?
We're going to be at a 4.5.
Okay, I just went 5, but I'll change mine to be consistent with yours, so that because you did a lot more special teams research than me. What was your intangible?
Oh God, I went 8.
8. Yes.
I felt
8.
like the culture. It felt like the culture was just fixed. Like I mean, winning helps. That's the thing. The ultimate
Also,
cure for a locker room is to win.
They kept the entire staff together.
Yeah. Joseph's back. Carmichael.
They made good decisions last year. Just in general, seem to be a team that knows what the hell's going on. So,
do you know their special teams coach is? It's a name. He was a head coach at one point, an interim head coach.
I don't have it. Wait, interim head coach. The Rizzler.
And he's a respected special teams coach, obviously.
Did he take over for who? Did he take over for Hackett? He's been here for a while, huh?
I don't know.
Interesting. The Rizzler. I forgot about that. Now I gotta look him up. The Rizzler took over as the interim head coach for the Saints last year.
Saints,
That was dumb. How did I forget that? Last year, he
remember
was the
when
head coach for the Saints.
Allen got fired.
Yeah, when Dennis Allen got the heave ho. All right. Final number.
It is a 2.32 to the good.
2.32.
That's my power number. Yeah, 2.32 to the good. They're a 57th percentile team.
I'm a 1.45 plus 1.45 for me. So it sounds like
it's my quarterback number. What was your quarterback number?
3.6.
So if I drop that, I'm
you
down
were
at
4.5.
It's all quarter. It's funny. We go through all these numbers, and quarterback is just such a big chunk of it.
Well, it's because we weighted it. It's very.
We're off on quarterback.
Well, we weighted it very highly, which is correct.
Correctly weighted.
Honestly, that's the one that I feel like you have the best actual kind of tangible read on. It's a more stable year over year. There's a lot of reasons that number should be better as far as an anchor goes. And I acknowledge I could be low. Year 2 of Bo Nix. I'm building in some sophomore slump. I don't think I am, but maybe I am. Actually, now that I say that out loud,
I can't believe you were that low. I thought I was going to be lower than you.
0.
Because just looking at stats.
Yeah, I guess I am building in some sophomore slump. If I just take last year and I carry it forward, like I have 3 years of data of him doing what he did last year, I would be at a 4.6.
Okay, just fine.
So I'm building in some sophomore slump. I admit it.
Which is fine.
Okay, we'll see.
However you want to do it, man.
The Broncos are my number 2 team in the AFC West. However, they are number 3 in the odds to win market for the AFC West. Current price is plus 362. Chargers 321. Chiefs minus 150. Is plus 362. And for you being almost a plus 3 team and maybe only having one way to go up, if the quarterback shows he can do it, plus 362? Is this a bet?
It's probably a bet. So I'm probably going to make this bet. And the reason I'm going to is because the early season schedule
it's soft.
It's soft. There's not likely a spot where it's like, oh, the Broncos are 6-1 to win the division. Because if they are, they're not winning the division at that point. It means they've screwed up. And the Kansas City Chiefs are playing
that world is they're 2-3. They've lost to the Chargers, Bengals, and Eagles in a row.
Yeah, and at that point, maybe
can't beat the elite quarterbacks.
Yeah, at that point, I'm not interested in betting them. So it's either if you're betting them, you're betting them now because that numbers. If the number gets better, it's for a reason that's going to keep you away from it anyway. And they got to start. They got to start hot, and that number goes down. And you can start looking at options at that point. I guess if you really want to, should we cash it and then just cash out right away?
There's a very real world where they are 8-2. Heading into their week 11 tilt with KC.
Yeah.
And that game is in Mile High.
And they're like plus 120 to win it at that point.
Yeah. And if they win that game, which right now they're 1.5 point dogs, then they go into their bye at 9-2, and people are probably kicking the tires with, can they get the 1 seed? And then you're really cooking with gas on that price. Or you could just, at that point, you just bet KC, call it a day, mission accomplished. Print the flags. I think I'm there. I think I'm going to end up betting some of this.
It's a bet.
It's going to get shorter between now and when the season starts. Is there any reason to think that this would get shorter? It would only get shorter, I guess, if something happens to Herbert or Mahomes injury-wise in the preseason, right? Otherwise, it's going to still be around 360-ish in mid-August, I would say. Right?
Yeah. Now I'm like looking on Kalshi for the. That's fun. You place 2 bets, or you place twice as much as you want, and then you can just buy out of some and free roll.
Fun.
I love these games.
Their win total to make the playoffs, yes, is -138. Wow, interesting. Regular season wins for the Broncos is over 9.5. If you want to play the over 9.5, you can get that plus 101. That is basically saying this team with a equally softish schedule and everybody taking a year forward under Sean Payton and adding strength to strength with the defense offseason, that they're not going to get back to 10 wins. That's surprisingly low. That's really surprising. 10 wins feels very, very doable here. Alt over feels right to me for these guys.
10, 11, 12, kind of, yeah.
Yeah. 11 over 10
take your stake and weight it however you want to. Play some 10.5, 11.5, 12.5.
I think I'm pro Broncos.
We are the Orange Crush podcast this year.
Season long futures. Do you think if this is your number 1 defense at the end of the year, they have another realistic chance to win DPOY, or is it going to be lightning striking twice for Surtain Jr. to win again?
It's so hard to picture. Somebody would have to have some like outlier luck in sacks, I think.
Yeah. Which Benito did last year. Benito had like the pick sixes. I know, but
he wasn't like a big name. Like people weren't celebrating him. I think maybe after last year, if he has like a 15 sack season, there's a shot. But man, everybody gets sacks, and it's just so spread out. Don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't looked at odds for Benito. Is that a big fish? Of the year?
Is there? What does Payton have to do to get some respect around here?
Oh man, Coach of the Year is a weird one because obviously he started with such low expectations last year, overperformed, didn't even really get a whiff.
So 20-1 is a no.
Yeah, I think it's one of those two where it's like he's had his flowers. He has his Super Bowl. He has, we've lauded him over his career. We don't feel the need to do this, which is so silly. Yeah, I don't even think it's like in the realm of possibility. It's like perfect season kind of shit. Like it has to just be such an outlier season. Like they beat the shit out of the Chiefs so bad that Andy Reid quits after the game and they finish 17-0. That's it. That's your Coach of the Year case, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm cool on them winning an award personally. I think a good season for them is they finish second or third in the AFC, and then get beat by Kansas City as the road Chiefs come through Denver and win.
It would be funny if it did turn out to be hard to beat a team 3 times and the Chiefs beat you by like 15 in the playoffs. Like you had this dream season where you win the division, you beat the Chiefs twice, and then Mahomes takes it into, oh, God, we were playing him in first gear. Turns out he's in third for the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's going to be a hype team. And I guess I try to stay away from hype teams, but for now, like I'm struggling to find reasons because my reasons are like looking at injuries that haven't happened.
Here's the question. Stage of elimination, lose in wild card round is plus 254. Is that a better bet than division? Because as a division winner, there's plenty of good teams that could come in and beat them. And as a wild card team, they're probably going to be like significant dogs at the likes of the Bills, Ravens, Chiefs.
Wild card not coming out of the South, most likely.
No.
So you're
probably
looking at like Ravens, Chiefs,
not. It's
Bengals.
gonna be someone that you do not want to play. I mean, there's a world where it's like the Patriots or something dumb.
Yeah, it could be I was gonna say somebody out of the East might be doable. That's crazy. But yeah, that's the thing. It's mile high in January. Patrick's just saying that now too. Like that's a tough place to play. The only person I really saw make it happen, mile high in January, Joe Flacco.
That's true.
Unstoppable.
Tom Brady.
What a fucking game. What a game.
Joe Flacco is the only guy that really ever went in there and gave him the business.
Trivia question, because I don't know the answer.
Andrew
Who's the
Luck
guy who missed
did
time
Andrew
to
Luck
jump?
go to did Andrew Luck go in there and give him the business? I think he did. Sorry, what was your trivia question?
The guy who missed time to jump on the long touchdown. The cornerback that he went up too early and it went over him. I don't know the guy's name. I can just picture that though.
Who caught the ball? Jacoby Jones?
I can't remember the receiver.
I think it was.
This is fun though.
Who was it, like Ronald Darby or something? I don't know why that name came to me. Who missed time to jump? Damn it. I forget. Great game though.
We're gonna look this up.
That was a good one.
I might rewatch that game. The Mile High Miracle. 2013? God, I'm so old.
The Ravens went on to win the Super Bowl.
70-yard touchdown pass.
That was the run that punched
Tony Carter was the quarterback.
Who was it? Timmy Carter?
Tony Carter.
Timmy Carter. That's a very different player. All right, man. Let's pull the plug.
It was Jacoby Jones, though. You're right.
And we will. It was funny too because the opening game of the banner game for the Ravens, they sent Peyton Manning and company to Baltimore. You remember he scored like 57 points. He had like 7 touchdowns in that game against the defending champs. That was fun.
The winning game were by a rookie kicker who is not someone we talk about anymore.
Justin Tucker?
As a rookie. Yes.
Really?
Yeah, 47-yarder to win the game in double overtime. And that, if you remember, that game was cold as shit.
Wow.
And those Broncos fans had to sit out there for like 4 hours.